Hi there, my name is Michael, and I'm going to be showing you a way to help even out the hips. That's really great to use if you are specifically like in an office setting or somewhere where you don't really want to be laying down on the ground or anything, that you can do safely in a chair. You're going to want a chair that has kind of a firm seat to it. You want your feet about hip width distance apart. Feet are firmly grounded on the earth, and bring your body just a little bit forward on the chair so that your back is not right up against the back of the chair. And you're going to check in with your posture. So you're going to inhale and find a lengthening in the spine, imagining a string if it was to come out of the top of your head. And you may have a cat that's wandering around that needs some hip openers too, so definitely involving the cat in that process. So a very noisy cat at that. So on the inhale, imagine that string kind of pulling the crown up, finding a length in the spine on the inhale, not forcing the spine to be straight. That's actually not possible. You'd cause damage if you had a straight spine. There's natural curvature. So just imagining a lengthening of the spine on the inhale, and on the exhale, allowing everything to soften down. The face, any tension in the brow or the sides of the eyes, everything to melt down. Shoulders melting down. And taking a few breaths in this way, finding the inhale, finding that length, and exhaling, softening. Do that as many times as you would like. Finding length on the inhales, softening on the exhales. And after a few times of this, we can get ready to go ahead and start. We're going to be crossing the right leg over the left in some capacity. So to start out, you want to check in and see what's going to provide the appropriate level of sensation for your right hip. That may mean if you have a block or something nearby that you can prop your foot on, having that handy just in case. But starting out by crossing the right ankle over the left on the floor, just loosely resting the ankle over the left ankle. And if this is not enough sensation for you, then maybe bringing in the block. There are 3 different settings. You've got the low setting, medium setting, and high setting. So starting out on the low setting, maybe bringing the right foot on top of the block, checking in with the hip, seeing what the level of sensation is. And if that's not appropriate level of sensation for you, if you're not really feeling it, then adjusting the height of the blocks. What I'm going to be doing is crossing the right ankle over the left ankle. Or over the left knee rather. It's going to come just above the knee. You don't want the ankle resting directly on it. But again, if this is too much sensation, if that hip is really hurting you, then back out of it, use the block or not. Whatever gives your body an appropriate level of sensation. A good litmus test for it is if you are feeling pain in the hip, that's your body telling you back out of it. If you're feeling a slight amount of discomfort, that generally is okay. Our hips, your hips probably are not even, just like mine. We have to do things like this on a regular to help them stay even with one another. So a little bit of discomfort is probably going to be experienced. So once you are here, you're going to bring the hands just above the knee or below the knee on the upper shin, and apply a very, very slight amount of pressure. You don't want to really be forcing down the knee, just a little amount of pressure that's there. You're going to hold this for roughly 30 seconds. And while you're holding, come into the breath. If it feels safe to close the eyes, I'd invite you to do so, and gently inhale, feel the length again, come back into the spine, and on the exhales, allow everything to soften down once again. Continue this way for roughly 30 seconds. And once you're finished, you're going to use your hands for support. Uncross the leg. Check back in. Feet are hip width distance apart. Thighs are parallel to the earth. Maybe take a breath or two and rediscover the length in the spine, softening down the body on the exhales. When you're ready, we're going to bring the left leg crossed just above the knee. Again, checking in with the level of sensation. Keeping in mind that both of our hips, they have very, very different stories. What your right hip does is not necessarily what your left hip does. That's why they're uneven. We stand kind of cockeyed sometimes and they just get all out of whack. So the level of sensation, you may need more or less on the left or right hip, depending on which one you're working on. So honoring that, always checking in with the body, the level of sensation, and modifying as is appropriate. So if you were crossing your leg like this on the right hip, and you've crossed your leg over on the left, you're like, oh, that hurts. Bring it down, cross at the ankle. Utilize the block or a prop to prop the foot up if that's appropriate. But always checking in with the body to avoid having a sensation of pain. That's your body saying stop, back out of it. So same thing here. We're going to go ahead and bring one hand over the other. Take an inhale, find the length, and on the exhale, everything softens and begin to apply a very slight amount of pressure through the hands onto the thigh or the upper shin. And same thing here, we're gonna hold and breathe for roughly 30 seconds, give or take some. And you can do this on both sides of the hips as much as you want. I sometimes will do this 3 or 4 times until the level of sensation in my hips has gotten a little less and there's not quite as much discomfort that's there. That's a good indicator that the hips are starting to get more in alignment with one another. So that is the goal with this. The hips, generally, there's going to be one that's a little bit higher than the other. So what this does, doing this on a daily basis, is help get your hips more in alignment to alleviate some of that pain, especially if we're sitting a lot in an office chair, not moving around a lot. You're going to want to do things like this to help keep the hips level with one another. So once you've been here, we've been here longer than 30 seconds, but once you've been here for roughly 30 seconds, go ahead and uncross the left leg and then repeat as often as you want throughout the day. Depending on what's going on with your hips, the first time of doing this may not provide a whole lot of relief. Keep doing it a couple times a day, once a day. And I'm sure you'll start to see results because I've noticed a big difference in my hips since I've started doing this on a regular basis. So stay tuned for other videos. I'm going to be posting other tips on your hips. So other things that you can do in the office or when you're at home and have access to the floor. So be checking in on a regular basis, and thank you for watching. So I love being able to drink one of my meals during the day. The problem is I've gone through so many different protein shakes, meal shakes, and they kind of make my mouth taste like the bottom of a bird cage, if you know what I mean. Like, they're just gross. That's where I found the soy protein shake. It absolutely tastes delicious. It's packed full of the nutrients that your body needs to get you through your day, to give you energy, mental clarity. It's absolutely fantastic. If you want to check out one of these delicious shakes, then be sure to check out my link, order it today, and I guarantee this will be a staple in your diet.